All right, guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of TNT Podcast. So, babe, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about AI.
Ooh, AI.
Yes. AI and how it's influencing or maybe affecting the music industry.
Right, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So I think we've all heard this buzzword that's been going around now. It's like AI, ChatGPT, and all this hibbity-hobbity computer whatever is going on. So go ahead and explain to us what's going on, baby. How is AI affecting music?
So I don't know if you heard the new Drake song that actually wasn't Drake.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a computer generated Drake song that was released, and it sounded exactly like Drake.
Okay.
It had everything, his flow, everything within the song, and it sounded good.
Right. Yeah.
But it was computer generated.
Yikes.
And they did it for Ariana Grande as well.
Okay.
And I recently found out that in 2018 they did it for Elvis as well. And that's before I even knew about AI.
What do you mean? So they made a computer generated song by Elvis?
Yep, they sure did.
Okay. So how does this technology work?
So I don't exactly know how it works, but I know how ChatGPT works.
Okay, how does ChatGPT work for those who don't know?
Okay, so you can ask it questions like, write me, well, not even ask a question, give it some work to do. Like, say, for instance, you have a science paper due.
Right.
And
science paper. What are we, in high school?
I mean, you could be in college if you want to.
Okay.
And you can plug it information and tell it to write you a plus a science paper.
Right, and it will automatically write the paper for you. Now you said A plus. Now, like, what if I'm a D student? Like,
okay, well, say write me a science paper, but
make it worthy of a student that's a D plus.
Make it worthy of a B plus student.
Oh, okay, right.
So you can raise your grade a little bit.
Right, yeah.
And so this is kind of like how, I guess, calculators were in our day.
What, calculators versus paper and pencil?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or your mind.
Yeah, right.
You know, because remember when I forgot what kind of calculator that was, but when the calculator could do all you could plug in the functions.
Okay.
Instead of having to
the algebraic
do the work.
expressions.
Yeah. And that's when that happened. The teachers were like, show your work.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
So there's been evolution
of technology.
Absolutely. And so you could even compare the car to the horse and buggy.
Okay.
And a lot of people said.
And that's what you think this AI is to music now?
It surpasses the horse and buggy, though.
Really?
Because I think people will be losing their jobs. And specifically talking about music, especially how it can generate the exact sound of this person, it can eliminate their career. So I sounded just like Drake. It did. I didn't hear the Elvis version, and I know some people are going to be like, that's not true.
All right, so wait. Let's go back to this first. Okay. So you're telling me that this AI technology now, it can emulate the artist.
Mm-hmm. The pitch, the sound, everything. And you could tell it to write a song. I had ChatGPT. I said, write me a country song, and then I said, make sure to mention this, that, and the third.
Right.
And
can we hear it?
No.
You want to read it?
No.
I see you got something on your screen right there.
Maybe next podcast.
Okay. All right.
I'll show you my country song, and I'll sing it for y'all.
Okay.
But right now, we're talking about how artists are going to be affected, how the record companies are going to be affected, and maybe how even reaction channels might be affected. Because you see where even when we did the Garth Brooks podcast, and we were talking about how protective he is of his music and how he doesn't like streaming software or even YouTube, Apple Music, iTunes to have his music, and he keeps it on CDs and he sells the CDs because Garth Brooks, he feels as if the artists aren't getting paid a fair share
Right.
for their artistry. And so you add AI into it where
Oh, they're definitely not going to make any money.
where you can say, write me a Garth Brooks song and sound like Garth Brooks.
Okay.
And it'll do it.
Right, exactly.
And so where does the line, where do you draw the line? Like,
Right.
there are no laws into place right now
Oh,
protecting
right.
artists and their
Yikes.
actual voices. So this technology is so ahead of, I guess, I don't even want to say ahead of the curve, is jumping us
Yeah, exactly.
into the future.
Right.
And you don't even know what else it could do. Like,
Because now that I think about it, if you can generate an AI song and say, hey, make me a Michael Jackson song and make it sound like this and this and this.
and you can plug in, like, here's an example of a Michael Jackson song. This is how he sounds.
Oh, you can teach it, right.
You can teach it, and the AI learns.
Right. Ooh.
And what's so crazy about it, when I first started using ChatGPT, I started feeling like it wasn't an actual AI.
You felt like it was a real person.
Yeah, I started saying thank you and please
Yikes.
and all of these things, and that's how intelligent
Okay,
it
right.
is.
I see what you're trying to do. So basically, what you're doing is you're trying to butter it up. So when AI,
No,
so when the
someone
androids
get
take
me?
over,
Will someone get me?
they'll be like spare Tasha.
That's right.
Yeah, get T.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting, and it does pose a couple of questions because it makes you think about how these artists are going to handle their brand, their likeness in the future, especially when there's no law set up yet
Right.
to kind of protect that.
Also think about LimeWire and Napster and how Metallica was battling with Napster
Back in the day, yeah.
back in the day.
For over
Napster
MP3s.
was ahead of his time,
Right.
Because, or maybe it wasn't ahead of his time.
No, they kind of were because LimeWire, Kazaa, peer-to-peer sharing, that stuff was free. But Napster was one of the main applications that decided to offer a service where you could pay to download MP3s. And I believe they were compensating artists. I'm not sure, but maybe their compensation wasn't enough or something.
Right.
I can't remember. But I do know that once they got sued by Metallica, that was it.
Right, that was the end of Napster.
And then iTunes, Apple basically took over
Yes.
and just did the same thing. Apple
Right.
and Spotify and all of them, they're doing the same thing as
Right,
Napster.
but it changed the way we got our music. So think about it. At first, we had tapes. Well, let's go back. First, there was records,
Dang.
and then the 8-track, and then tapes, CDs, and then when Napster and LimeWire and the peer-to-peer sharing came on because of the internet,
Right.
this was like an intangible object, and you have all these thousands of songs
Right.
at your fingertips. You you no longer had to buy CDs.
Right, yeah.
You know, and so some people are comparing the AI to the wheel.
Oh.
The wheel.
Well, you know what? I
significant
would
they say.
agree. If
Really?
it can do everything that you're saying it can do, and then from what
And more.
what I seen from ChatGPT, this literally is the wheel because this is like the dawn of something new, and I can't express what that might be because the possibilities are almost endless. You know?
And think about the jobs. So, if you can tell it to write you a science paper, why can't it have you? Why can't it write a thesis, your college thesis?
Right,
Or why
exactly.
can't it write your? If you are a professor, write your.
It can write a syllabus
your
for you,
syllabus
and
for you.
Essentially, I think
I
that's
had
what
it write my resume.
I think that's what people are utilizing it for. But when it comes to music, I think the biggest breakthroughs are that it can emulate popular artists, their vocal and singing style. It can emulate the songwriting style.
Yes, it can.
And then what I'm coming to find is that now you can use AI to create actual instrumentals.
Yeah.
And so you can actually use programs to say, hey, make me a song that sounds like this and uses this instruments, and it will generate it.
So think about this now. Y'all think about this. because I mentioned Elvis and a 2018 album that an AI generated. So remember when Tupac had the hologram? They were doing holograms of Tupac, Whitney Houston, and Michael Jackson. What if they start creating like pop stars out of thin air? So they take all the what makes a pop star, make the good catchy pop songs, and then create a hologram. And they're already doing it in Japan.
Right. I think
what they
that
call the pop stars. The AI pop stars.
Yeah, I forget what they call them, but I know that Japan was way ahead of the curve when it came to this because they were doing hologram pop stars back in the early 2000s. But of course, the music was always it was, created by human. There was always people behind it. Right. There was always a human aspect of it. And that was in the early 2000s, but even going before that into the 90s and the 80s, they were doing it in the anime. So they had anime that was based off of AI generated pop stars. And so that idea of a computer fake pop star has always been around in Japan. And now it's really coming into reality. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. So tell us what you think about this. And do you think it's going to replace? I know some people are going to say, no, it can't replace human thoughts and technology. Well, not technology, but the ideas that we as human have.
Right.
Does that make sense? Humans, he can't replace us.
Right. Well, the thing of it is that we did a podcast a little while ago where we were discussing whether talent matters anymore or the future of talent. And a lot of people were saying, oh, well, you can't replace, actual singing talent, and you can't replace playing the instruments, and you can't replace a live experience. But what we're coming to find is that AI is being able to replace the vocal style or vocals. They're able to replace the music. And now with holograms and stuff like that, they're able to replace the actual artists and be able to create.
And then the record company can keep all the money for themselves.